Here's a quick video to get you thinking about what creativity is. So let's start off with one of the most famous pieces of art. This is The Comedian by an Italian artist called Maurizio Cattelan. Um, it came to prominence probably because it was valued at £96,000. And there's an interesting quote which I think might fit here. The true purpose of arts education is not necessarily to create more professional dancers or artists. It's to create more complete human beings who are critical thinkers, who have curious minds, and who can lead productive lives. And then we've got another example. This is My Bed from Tracey Emin. It was exhibited in the Tate Gallery in 1999. It was shortlisted for the Turner Prize and it was sold at auction in 2014 for 2,546 and £500. Have a think about, is this creativity? This is from a local artist based in Seaford called Kristina Veasey. And this is her fabric, which she designed, and then she covered the chair with it. So, is this creativity? Have a look at this photograph. Now look at this. This is that photograph, but it's been manipulated. Can you see there's four versions of it? And if you look back at Kristina Veasey's chair, you'll see it forms that bit of fabric at the top there and also on the side. And this is called My Dirty Secret. And she has a whole exhibition of images, like on the back of the chair, created from photographs of dirt and mess in her house. She has a disability and cleaning is an issue. And that's where the art has come from, and it's called My Dirty Secret. The Mona Lisa. Is this creativity? Is it creative genius? Or is it just technical excellence? So, in the time that Leonardo painted this three-quarter pose was novel, the way that it's set up. It's really realistic. And so Leonardo's ability to closely imitate nature was really valued. The face shows his skillful handling of sfumato, which is an artistic technique that uses subtle gradations of light and shadow to model the form. This shows his understanding of the skull beneath the skin. So he really understands anatomy to be able to use that technique to create this lovely effect. Um, there's finely wrought tresses in her hair. There's careful rendering of the folds in the fabric. And this reveal Leonardo's studied observations and an inexhaustible patience to create this amount of detail. The sitter's steady gaze and restrained smile were not regarded as mysterious until the 19th century. Leonardo painted a complex figure that is very much like a complicated human. So, is this technique or is it creative genius? This is Shadows Travelling on the Sea of the Day by Olafur Eliasson. He's an Icelandic artist. This is a huge installation of steel fiberglass and glass mirrors, and it's in the desert in Doha. And it's called Shadows Travelling on the Sea of the Day. And I include it because someone said of his work, first we have a wow, and then we have an aha. And I'd like you to just reflect on that statement and think about some of the other art that we've looked at. Do you have a wow and then an aha? And is that creativity? And now let's go back to some of the art creative activities that we've been doing. So 30 Circles was developed by a Harvard technologist who's a creative researcher. And it's important because it's working within restrictions. We gave you a restriction, you had to work within circles. It sharpens your mind because you were working under a time constraint and you had to create as many different things as you could. The aim was to complete the 30 circles. And what's interesting is that children haven't yet learnt this specific purpose of specific items. So a circle has to do lots and lots of different things, and they have the ability to just transcend all of this. Well, this is a circle, and do all sorts of things with it. And there's all sorts of rules that we put in our head when we're doing this activity. Like, do you have to work within the circle? Nobody said you had to do that. Can you join two circles together? Nobody said you had to do that or not do that. So we created some rules of our own. Some people broke those rules. So it's really interesting to see what we impose on ourselves when we're trying to be creative. And then the long stick drawing. This is inspired by Henry Matisse, who sometimes used to use long sticks to draw with, both so that he could get an oversight of large drawings, but also in his later life, he was confined to bed. And so he could sit in bed and draw onto the walls. It's also really interesting because it creates a constraint. And one of the reasons why doing this is really interesting is that it creates a gap between our intentions and our abilities. And sometimes we think that creativity is technical ability, which is why I included the Mona Lisa. So is the creativity in what we produce? Is it in the intention? Is it in all of the things that are going in the gap between that intention and that ability? So thinking back to Kristina Veasey's work, she has a disability. She's used that as an intention. She's used photography. She's used the creation around her to inspire that work. So what? So I'd like you to reflect on these questions. How is creativity demonstrated in art forms? So thinking about these artworks that we've been looking at, is the moment, is that the creativity? Is the technical ability the creativity? What object in this video made you feel something? What feeling was it? And what do you make of this? And finally, journal your thoughts on what do you think creativity is.